I've been a part of the anime community for around 6 months now, and most encounters I've had have been pretty positive. Most people just mind their own business and sometimes talk about their favorite animes. But one thing I've realized is that every once in a while, a large group of people decides to hate on a specific anime or a character from the anime. This is something I expected because the anime community is pretty big, and every big community always has a minority that brings negativity. But the problem is that a lot of the times, there's nothing wrong with the things they're hating on. A recent example is Uzaki-chan. For some reason, a large group of people thought Uzaki-chan's design was shit and decided to fix it. I haven't watched or read Uzaki-chan, but from what I've seen, her design is pretty normal, but some retards on Twitter thought something like this is better than it. Now let's go on to the main topic of this video, Emilia. Emilia is the main character from Re:Zero, and anyone that has watched Re:Zero knows that she's not liked by most people. So I went into the show thinking I wasn't going to like her, because if so many people dislike her, that probably means she's a bad character. But when I finished the anime, I was actually confused and kinda surprised. Emilia ended up being my waifu, and I really didn't see how anyone could hate this girl. She was 100% the nicest character from the show, and she was the only one that didn't attempt to harm Subaru in any way. The only negative thing she even attempted was when she had that argument with Subaru, but that was mostly his fault. So why is Emilia so hated? In this video, I will be pointing out a few things that can make people dislike her, and I will also be defending her and explaining why I think she's insanely overhated. The main reason is definitely because of what happened in episode 18 of season 1. There will obviously be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the show, go binge watch it and come back to this video. So in episode 18, Rem confessed to Subaru, and it even got me, an Emilia fan, kinda emotional, because you can just tell how passionate she feels about him. But even after hearing that full-hearted confession, Subaru rejected her and ended up saying, "I love Emilia." This made other Rem fans very unhappy, and I understand why they feel that way. I had a similar experience with the manga, Nisekoi. The girl I was rooting for was Onodera, and she ended up losing to Chiroge. I actually almost cried out of disappointment, but I didn't, and I still don't hate Chiroge, because she didn't do anything wrong. I honestly think this is worse than the Re:Zero situation, because Ichijo, the protagonist, always talked about how much he liked Onodera, but ended up changing his mind in the final chapters. Because of this, the writer of Nisekoi got a lot of backlash. This kinda makes sense, but I wouldn't send hate towards someone just because I'm unsatisfied with the ending it shows. The weird thing is, this didn't happen in Re:Zero. The writer didn't receive any backlash, but for some reason, Emilia got all of it. This honestly doesn't make any sense, because like the Chiroge situation, Emilia didn't do anything wrong. She only appeared a few times in the second half of season 1, so if anything, Subaru should have received all the hate because of how persistent he was wanting to get with Emilia. And Subaru makes it pretty fucking clear that he was in love with Emilia. Actually, everything he did in season 1 was for Emilia. And it makes sense why he did like her. She was the first person that he felt comfortable around after getting isekai, and she's just overall a cute girl, so it makes sense why he liked her. So I think no one did anything wrong in this situation. If you watched the episodes before the confession, you should have expected Subaru to respond this way. The next reason is because everyone thinks Emilia is useless. Now I can kinda see why people would think that way, because she really didn't do much in most of season 1 and 2, but that's also because she wasn't really involved in most things that happened. So you can't really call someone useless when they didn't even get a chance to share what they could have done. I also think this is because of Emilia's character. Around 2 years ago, a movie called The Frozen Bond was released, and it basically showed us Emilia's life before she met anyone she currently knows. She was separated from everyone, and a lot of people feared her because she looks like the Witch of Envy. The only creature that supported her was Puck, who was basically her dad. So from this movie, we can see that Emilia has always been independent and kind of helpless. And it makes sense why she's helpless. She's been living on her own since she was young, and everyone has always been against her. She has always received special treatment either from fear or because of her position. The first person that liked her for being herself was Subaru. So this is why I think they would be the perfect couple in Re:Zero, because they both need each other. They can only be completely comfortable around each other, and they're also the only person they can completely trust. Now let's go back to talking about why Emilia isn't useless. In part 1 of season 2, we see Emilia fail the trial countless times. We don't get to see anything that happens, but we do know what the trial is about. For the first trial, the challenger has to overcome a part of the past. And from the movie, we know that Emilia doesn't have a positive past, so I think it makes sense why she keeps on failing the trial. Another reason why she keeps on failing is simply because of the story. Because Subaru is the protagonist, we have to see most things from his perspective, so we actually need to see Emilia fail so we can see Subaru's attempt for the trial. And it's also a part of Emilia's character development. Hopefully they'll explain why she became a yandere and show us what her attempts on the trial looks like when part 2 comes out. And that's why I think Emilia's overhated. So overall, I really don't see how anyone could dislike this girl. Not only is she not liked by most viewers, she's also not liked by a lot of the characters in Re:Zero. There's been multiple times where she tries to help someone, but always gets rejected. She's just a young girl that wants to be accepted by everyone, and she's just overall a nice and pretty attractive girl. So if you don't like Emilia, fuck you.